So, how do we handle write-in candidates here in the state of California? California's elections code in Division 8, Part 3 deals with write-in candidates, and Chapter 1 contains a number of general provisions. Beginning with Section 8500, it provides that every person who desires to be a write-in candidate and have his or her name as written on the ballot of an election counted for a particular office is actually required to file a statement of write-in candidacy, as well as provide the requisite number of signatures on his or her nominating papers. The statement of a write-in candidacy is required to contain specified information. And note that a person may not be a write-in candidate at the general election for a voter-nominated office, only in the primary. Section 8601 requires the statement and nominating papers to be available on the 57th day prior to the election for which the candidate is filing as a write-in candidate. And those papers must be delivered to the elections official responsible for the conduct of the election no later than the 14th day prior to that election. Section 8602 of the Elections Code requires the nomination papers for a write-in candidate to be in a specified form. Section 8603 requires signers of nominating papers for write-in candidates to be voters in the district or the political subdivision in which that candidate is to be voted on as a write-in candidate. In addition, if the candidate is seeking a party nomination for an office, then the signers must also be affiliated with the party whose nomination is being sought. Section 8604 prohibits any fee or charge to be required of a write-in candidate, except in the case of a candidate for city office. Section 8605 provides that no person whose name has been written in upon a ballot for an office at the direct primary may have his or her name placed upon the ballot as a candidate for the office in the ensuing general election, with a few specified exceptions. Section 8606 prohibits a person from being a write-in candidate at the general election for any voter-nominated office. In turning to Chapter 2 of the Elections Code, it deals with presidential electors. And Section 8650 provides that any group of individuals equal in number to the number of presidential electors to which the state is entitled and who desire to be a write-in candidate for presidential electors pledged to a particular candidate, they're also required to file a declaration of write-in candidacy. And so Section 8651 requires the declaration of write-in candidacy for a presidential elector to contain certain specified information. Section 8652 of the Elections Code requires the declaration of write-in candidacy to be filed with the Secretary of State no later than the 14th day prior to the general election. And finally, Section 8653 of the Elections Code provides that only those names written on the ballot at the general election for the office of President and Vice President of the United States, for which a group of presidential electors are pledged on the declaration of write-in candidacy file, are actually to be counted as votes for write-in of presidential electors.